In this assignment, I'm going to demonstrate how to apply the URL API scheme of the NIH Chemical Resolver to a Google spreadsheet. Now, this process can also be adapted to many other chemical web APIs with a few modifications. Some of those may be offered by ChemSpider or PubChem, maybe even cast numbers. So what we want to do here is we want to take our list of chemicals. I've just given a short list, and we want to automate the process of finding the molecular weights for each of these chemicals. So to start with, we want to go over to the NIH, the Chemical Identifier Resolver page, and you can read this little paragraph. It tells you kind of what it is and how it works. The most important part is the URL scheme, and the beginning of it, all the way up to the two pieces that are in parentheses, are going to be static parts of the URL. So basically these will stay the same for all of the operations that we're going to do in this video. The next piece is a dynamic piece, and this will be the structure identifier. So this refers to our chemical names like methane and hydrogen, and these are going to be dynamic values that are pulled directly from the cells in the first column, as you can see here. The last part is the representation. So what format do we want the data in? Do we want the molecular weight? Do we want the chemical formula? Do we want the in sheet? There's several different formats that you can have this, and there's a whole list of them in the drop down. So we want to just grab the molecular weight and kind of test out the way that this API works. So we're going to start with methane. We hit submit, and we get the URL that shows the structure that this data came from, and the values that we're interested in is the numerical 16.0426. So we want to be able to import numbers like this into our spreadsheet. So now that we know the URL scheme and what we're looking for, we can start building the pieces. So we're going to start out with a function known as import data. So import data, and basically what this does is this looks for a URL address, and it goes to that URL address and it brings in all of the HTML that's on that page. And if we go back to our page, we're getting a simple numerical value. We're not getting anything that's organized in XML or CSV or any tables. It's just plain raw text. So we don't have to do any filtering on the return process. The next piece that we want to add is a second function, and this is to concatenate all of the different pieces together. So we want to start with the first part, which is going to be the static, which is going to go all the way to where I've highlighted structure in the /. So we can go ahead and copy that, enter this in, and because this is a static piece, we want to make sure that it's in quotation marks. Now, to add a piece, we add a comma and then the next section. So after the first part of the static URL, we want to add the chemical name. These are all the values that are in the column A, so we can simply add A2 to represent this row. We add another comma, and we want to add our last piece. The last piece is also going to be static. We'll add our parentheses, /MW to represent the rest of our URL. So now we can close both of these parentheses, and we should get our values. So now that we have methane, we can simply do a drag and drop to grab the rest of the values. Now, as you can see, I've added methane twice. So for the second value of methane, let's change our MW for molecular weight to, let's say we want to get the formula. So now we get CH4, and we can drag it up and we can grab all of the other formulas. So this is a very easy process to automate grabbing physical data and other types of useful information. So if we had a list of 1,000 chemicals, this would be much faster than having to basically search these manually. And that includes the web service and Google Sheets for importing basic chemical data.